कोई क्वेश्चन करोगे, हो सकता है इस क्वेश्चन में क्या दिया, उसने बोला यू रिक्वायर्ड टू शो द बैलेंस शीट ऑफ ए लिमिटेड अज्यूमिंग दैट द अमालगमेशन इज इन द नेचर ऑफ परचेज। अब पहली बात ये है, आप बैलेंस शीट बना सकते हो बिना जर्नल एंट्रीज की, बना लोगे आप लोग, हाँ या नहीं बोलो? Will you be able to make the final balance sheet, that is the clubbing up of A and B, without journal entries? Yes or no? Give me an answer. बोलो भाई, हाँ या नहीं, बिना जर्नल एंट्रीज की बैलेंस शीट बन जाएगी? हाँ जी, कोई जवाब ही नहीं है, क्या हो रहा है भाई, सो रहे हो क्या सब? I am asking you a simple question. Without making the journal entries, can you make the balance sheet? Can you complete illustration 9 without making journal entries? Yes or no? हम आगे तो नहीं बढ़ पाएंगे अगर मुझे आपकी तरफ से जवाब नहीं आएगा, मैं नहीं पढ़ा सकती ऐसे. You know me, this is not how I teach. You have to answer me. Can you make a balance sheet without the journal entry? So Lipsa says no. Why? Because the thing is, even though your journal entry might not have marks, by the way, okay, it's like, I'm sure you know that in accounts, you always have certain thing known as working notes, जिसकी हेल्प से आपका क्वेश्चन पूरा सॉल्व होता है. सो इन दिस क्वेश्चन ऑल्दो जर्नल एंट्री करने की जरूरत नहीं है, क्वेश्चन में मांगा नहीं है, लेकिन मैं फाइनल बैलेंस शीट कैसे बनाऊंगी? How will I make the balance sheet? I cannot make it. So what I'll do is I will create the journal entries in the purchasing company's accounts. Okay, so let's go on one by one. So if you remember, all of you, we did the entries in the purchasing company. The first entry is always what? Business purchase to liquidator of the liquidator of vendor account. Now tell me, who is going to tell me कि इस केस में illustration 9 में पहली entry क्या होगी? Yes, who's telling me? You can write in the chat box also or unmute yourself also. I want to know the first entry for illustration 9. Since you already have the person, since you already have the, what do you call, purchase consideration. So what is the entry? Business purchase to liquidator of?
Ma'am, business purchase account debited to liquidator of B Limited with 5,37,000.
Very good. Who was this? Divya. Yes, that's right, Divya. So I hope everybody has written that in their registers. I am purposely not writing it on the screen because I did not like the way you people are behaving. You come to the class after 1 week and you are just not showing any interest. So I'm not going to do this question with you. Okay, so you will do it. I'll discuss the entries. You will do it right here. I'll not do it in front of you. After this, the next thing I'll do. Okay, so that's the first entry. Now, once we have made the entry, what is the second entry? That is the assets, various assets to various liabilities to business purchase. And then depending on where is the balancing figure, we will accordingly either debit the goodwill or we will accordingly credit the capital reserve. Now, I think this will require some handwork and calculation for all of you. So what you have to do is you will have to add up all the assets just to find out. Just listen to me very carefully what you'll do. You'll use the calculator. You'll add up all the assets of obviously only B Limited. You will also add up all the liabilities of obviously B Limited. And then you will see that once you pass the entry is going to be like, I'm going to give you 5 minutes. Individually, you're going to write the assets, their values. 2, individually, you're going to write the liabilities, their values. 2, business purchase. And then tell me, where is the difference? Is it a capital reserve or is it a goodwill? 5 minutes time to all of you. Come on, quickly do it. I am waiting. When you have the answer, the entire entry I want you to tell me with the balancing figure. Is it clear? Yes, please do it in 5 minutes. In case of any doubt, please ask me. I'm here only. And this answer will be given by Dipansh. Dipansh, will you be able to manage?
Ma'am, actually, I can't find the question.
The question is in WhatsApp group. Just check. Illustration 9. I'll also check. I'm just checking out. I'm sending it again. See, have you received it? The first page. And I'm sending the second page again. Yeah, even the second page is there. Guys, please wake up. You don't even have the book. You don't have the questions. ऐसे तो पढ़ाई होगी नहीं. Next Saturday जब आओगे अपनी book लेके आना. नहीं तो मुझे बता दो आपकी क्लास ऐसे नहीं चल पाएगी. ठीक है? 10-10 बार आपको क्वेश्चंस देने हैं. बुक्स आपने खरीदनी. क्या लगा रखा है ये ड्रामा? इस तरीके से पढ़ाई होती है क्या? Fine. Has anybody been able to do the second entry? Please tell me what is the second entry. आज चाहे कितना भी टाइम लग जाए, आप लोग ऐसे करोगे तो फिर ऐसे ही होगा भाई. यहाँ पे बैठ के सॉल्व करते रहे. आपके सामने क्वेश्चन, आप कुछ करोगे नहीं. पेपर आपका है, मेरा है. ग्रो अप. व्हाट इज रॉन्ग विद यू ऑल? एक हफ्ते में एक बार मिलना होता है, उसके बाद भी ये तरीका है आपका. पहले ही चैप्टर में बैठे हैं अभी हम. मैं ऐसा भी नहीं है कि बहुत जल्दी जल्दी भगा रही हूँ. Two more minutes left for the entry. Yes, are you done, Dipansh?
No, ma'am, still doing.
Okay. Anyone else who's done? Quickly, quickly. Anirudh, what about you? Are you done?
No, ma'am.
Doing it or not doing it?
Doing it, ma'am.
Okay. So whoever is done can raise your hand, okay? Lipsa, what about you?
Ma'am, doing.
एक एंट्री है, इतना क्या टाइम लग रहा है? एसेट्स डालने हैं, लाइबिलिटीज डालने हैं, बिजनेस परचेज डालना है, बैलेंस निकालना है. Sukhmeet, what about you?
I'm 38,000.
Right, Sukhmeet, you're right that it is 38,000, but you also need to tell me whether it's goodwill or capital reserve.
Ma'am, capital reserve 38,000.
Very good, Sukhmeet. Can you read out the entire entry for me?
Ma'am, 1 minute.
Yeah.
Land and building account debited. Plants and machinery account debited.
साथ में wait. Sukhmeet, साथ में amounts बोलते जाओ.
Yes. Land and building amount debited 1,45,000. Plant and machinery account debited 1,80,000. Furniture account debited 35,000. Non-current investment 95,000. So 97,000. Stock in trade account debited 88,000. Debtors account debited 68,000. And then
67.
cash and cash.
67.
67,000.
Huh.
Then cash and cash equivalent 38,000 debited. To current liabilities 40,000 and long term borrowings 35,000. Then we get the balance of then purchase consideration is 5 lakh
So you write to
37,000.
business purchase. To business purchase 5,37,000.
37,000 and we get the capital reserve of 38,000.
Very good. Very good, Sukhmeet. Thank you so much. Any
Ma'am,
doubts?
Lipsa.
Yes, Lipsa, you want to say something?
No, ma'am, I was the one answering.
You were the one who was speaking.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I thought Sukhmeet was speaking. I'm so sorry. So very good, Lipsa. That's right. That's correct. So yes. How many of you got it right? Or is there a doubt in this second entry? This is the main entry of the question, by the way. If there is any doubt in this entry, please ask. Okay. So we have, that means done the second entry, and all of you should get 38,000 as capital reserve. Okay, fine. Now the first entry was done, जिसमें business purchase लिया हमने. Second में हमने assets और liabilities transfer किए. Okay. Now what will be the third entry? Anyone? Let's see who answers this. What is the third entry? You're going to make the payment to the liquidator of the vendor account. So Anirudh, can you tell me what will be the third entry? Anirudh?
Yes, ma'am.
या थर्ड एंट्री बताओ, लिक्विडेटर की पेमेंट की एंट्री बताओ.
Liquidator of B Limited
यस.
to equity share capital account to preference share capital account.
हाँ, लेकिन अमाउंट्स भी बताओ साथ के साथ. डेबिट का अमाउंट बताओ पहले तो.
एक्चुअली मैम मैं पिछले क्लास में था नहीं तो मुझे परचेज कंसिडरेशन अभी निकाला नहीं मैंने.
अच्छा ठीक है, चलो निकालो उसको. ठीक है, डू इट.
Yes.
निकालो. Yes, fine. The entry is right. What he said is right. Sukhmeet, can you tell me the amounts? Business purchase का amount, to equity share capital का amount, and to preference share का amount. Sukhmeet. Sukhmeet, are you there? Can you reply? बहुत ही बकवास क्लास हो रही है आज, guys. I am really hating this. This is really not how I want my classes to go on. Do not come to class like this. आपको पूरा टाइम से सारा समझाया जा रहा है, ज्यादा प्रेशराइज भी नहीं कराया जा रहा है. हफ्ते में एक बार आपको 2-3 क्वेश्चन करके आना होता है, वो भी आप नहीं करके आते. ऐसे कैसे आगे बढ़ेगा इंसान? आपको क्या लगता है यार, यहाँ सामने वर्ड डॉक्यूमेंट खोल के बस मैं लिखती जाऊंगी, दैट्स हाउ अकाउंट्स इज डन? Even in my offline, that is not how accounts was done. Even in my online, that is not how accounts is done. Okay, get it very clear. And I think you have done computer application with me, so you should know how things are being done practically. Yes, Sukhmeet, go on. Tell me the amounts. कोई जवाब ही नहीं है, पता नहीं कैसे बच्चे हैं. Dipansh, can you tell me?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me.
Ma'am, 3,50,000 equity shares.
Okay.
And ma'am, 1,87,000 of preference shares.
Right. Thank you, Dipansh. Thanks a lot. So that's the next entry. Now we have made the payments also. If you notice, guys, if you have studied the question carefully, there is one interesting point in the question. It says the debenture of B Limited will be converted into equivalent number of debentures of A Limited. Okay. So can anybody tell me what will be the entry for this? The debenture of B Limited will be converted into equivalent number of debentures of A Limited. What will be the entry? Anyone?
Debentures of B Limited account debit, debentures of A Limited.
That's right, Anirudh, but you have to tell me the amount also, beta.
1 second.
Yeah, please
Ma'am,
check.
35,000.
Very
is the
good.
amount.
Very good. Thank you, Anirudh. Thank you. Okay. Now there is another point in the question, although I must inform you. It says the statutory reserve of B Limited, export profit reserve and investment allowance reserve are to be maintained for 2 more years. Now this means, if you remember, we did one entry, that is amalgamation adjustment account, to the statutory reserve. So in this case, what will be the entry? Will anybody be able to tell me? Let's see. Who will answer this? Anyone? Transfer of statutory reserve. What is the entry? Divya, can you try?
Ma'am, amalgamation adjustment account debited to statutory reserve account with 30,000.
No, wait. First
Yes.
part is right, amalgamation adjustment. Now see, he says statutory reserve और उसमें उसने दिया हुआ है कि statutory
Yes.
reserve के नाम क्या है,
So
right?
it will be amalgamation adjustment account debited to
Yeah.
export profit reserve account with 20,000 and
Yeah.
investment allowance reserve account with 10,000 to
Very
total amount of 30,000.
Right, correct. That's right. So with this, now tell me, all of you just have a quick look at the entire question and tell me, do you think the entries are done or there is any other entry that is left? Just let me know. I'm waiting. Very quickly. Is there any entry which is left? Anybody? What do you think, Vishal? Any entry left or all the entries done? All the entries are done now, guys. Now we are going to move to the balance sheet. So please understand, आप सीधा कभी भी बैलेंस शीट नहीं बनाओगे, आप हमेशा पहले एंट्रीज करोगे, क्योंकि अगर आप सीधा बनाने की कोशिश करोगे तो बहुत बहुत ज्यादा चांसेस है आपसे कुछ ना कुछ मिस हो जाए, ठीक है? So, and like you know that there are marks for working notes also, so accordingly you will be allotted the marks. Now let's go to the balance sheet. Obviously we will be starting with as a punishment, I'm not doing it in front of you. Next part se main start karungi because I need to see how you guys are improving. Okay, so we are going to start with the share capital. Obviously, first thing in the share capital is going to be our preference share capital, and then the second thing is going to be the equity share capital. Now, will anybody be telling me that how much is the preference share capital that we should put in the balance sheet? Okay, one thing I would like to tell you, just let me just show you here. There are two things. One is the balance sheet that you make, okay, and the other thing is the notes to account. Please remember, the best approach in accounts is to make them simultaneously. In the sense, maybe one or two pages you can leave for the balance sheet and 1 or 2 pages you can have for the notes to accounts. You should always start with the notes to accounts because whatever will be there in the notes to accounts will accordingly be going to the balance sheet. I hope it is clear to you. तो ऐसा कभी भी नहीं होगा. आपका wrong approach क्या होगा कि आप balance sheet बना दो पहले और notes to account उसके बाद बना रहे हो. That is wrong. You cannot do that. आपके question में गलतियां होंगी. आपको नोट्स टू अकाउंट बनाना है और साइमल्टेनियसली बनाओगे तो और भी अच्छा है, अदरवाइज नोट्स टू अकाउंट कंप्लीट करके आप बैलेंस शीट बनाओगे. इज दिस क्लियर? इज दिस अप्रोच क्लियर? ओके, तो नोट्स टू अकाउंट्स में मेरे पास सबसे पहली चीज है प्रेफरेंस शेयर कैपिटल. हु इज टेलिंग मी हाउ मच इज द प्रेफरेंस शेयर कैपिटल? एनीवन? लेट्स सी. How much is the preference share capital? Let's see. What is your answer? Just don't worry. Just tell me what comes to your mind. डरने की कोई बात नहीं है, बोलो.
4,57,000.
Okay, so see, Dipansh, when you're saying 4,57,000, we are making a notes to accounts. We have to be sure that we bifurcate it. In the sense, the first we can write it that 1,870 shares issued to the to B Limited. That comes out to be 1,87,000. And then we can again write already existing preference shares, that is 2,700 preference shares. For that, the total is 2,70,000. So which means actually the preference share capital is the total of 2,70,000 and we have 187. Am I right? That's what, right? Okay. Any doubt? Okay, let's see what is the equity share capital now. Yes, who's going to tell me the equity share capital?
I'm 8 lakhs.
8 lakhs.
I'm 8 lakhs.
Tell me the
8 lakhs.
bifurcation, because you have to write the bifurcation in the notes to accounts.
I'm
Maybe Tanu?
80,000.
Yeah, okay, Sukhmeet is speaking. Let her speak. Sukhmeet, bifurcation of the preference share, equity share capital?
I'm 80,000 equity shares of 10 each.
Yeah. And we have to separately write that 35,000 equity shares of 10 each that were
10 each
allotted to the,
to vendors.
yeah, so we'll have to write that in the bracket. Okay, clear. Fine.
Okay, ma'am.
So the share capital is all done. So can anybody tell me what is the total of the share capital?
Ma'am, 12 lakh 57,000.
Yes, I hope everyone is getting 12,57,000 as the total of share capital. Now, in your notes to account, you can take this 12,57,000 directly to the balance sheet, and in the header, shareholders fund, the first thing you write is share capital, and share capital के आगे आप लिखोगे 12,57,000. Any doubt? Any question till share capital? Okay. Now after share capital, we are going to make here. So this was the entire share capital which you will have here, the total. The next thing we are going to make is the reserves and surplus. Okay, so we are going to talk about the reserves and surplus. Now let's see what all reserves and surplus do we have. Let me ask, Anung, are you there? I don't think so. Divya, are you there? Okay, so Divya, can you tell me what are the various reserves and surplus that I will be showing in the balance sheet?
Ma'am, general reserve.
Okay, wait here, huh? So you're saying general reserve. How much general reserve will you show?
75,000.
No, that is the problem. What you did is you added 50,000 and 25,000.
Yes, ma'am.
And we just discussed it is in the nature of purchase.
Yes, ma'am.
How are you adding this 25,000 when the entries that you made, the journal entry that you made, you did not credit general reserve anywhere, did you?
No, ma'am.
So the point here is, listen to me very carefully because इसके बाद हम merger की entries करेंगे and you will understand the difference. Because it is in the nature of purchase, the major difference in journal entries is जो भी आपके reserves है, surplus है, सिर्फ statutory reserve जो है वो vendor का add होता है. बाकी reserve surplus कुछ भी नहीं add होता क्योंकि it is in the nature of purchase. This is very important point, guys. Okay, listen to it very carefully. If you have a doubt, please ask me. यही डिफरेंस होता है जब अगर यही केस मर्जर में होता. अगर ये केस मर्जर में होता तो हम बैलेंस शीट में भी टू जनरल रिजर्व, सॉरी, हम जर्नल एंट्रीज में भी टू जनरल रिजर्व लिखते और बैलेंस शीट में भी वेंडर का जनरल रिजर्व ऐड करते. इज दिस क्लियर? एनी क्वेश्चन? Okay, so this is one of the major differences between purchase and merger. So Divya, how much general reserve are we adding here?
Ma'am, 50,000.
50,000, right? So all of you can, make a what do you call, in the notes to accounts, you can write the general reserve as 50,000, right? Okay, after Divya, do I have Tanu? Tanu, after general reserve, what can I add in the reserve and surplus? Tanu is not there. Okay, Anirudh, after general reserve, what should I add?
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, export profit reserve.
Okay, yeah. So you're saying export profit reserve. What will be the amount, bache? Tanu Kumari?
Ma'am, 30,000. Ma'am, 30,000.
No, now you're wrong. Why? Because हमने तो एंट्री करी है 20,000 की भी. जब हमने जर्नल एंट्री की थी, क्या हमने एंट्री नहीं की amalgamation adjustment to export profit reserve? Right?
Yes.
So क्योंकि हमने लिखा हुआ है क्वेश्चन में और ये परचेज में स्टैट्यूटरी रिजर्व्स हमेशा ऐड होते हैं क्योंकि वो बाय स्टैट्यूट्स हैं, तो हमें 2 साल तक और मेंटेन करने हैं ये रिजर्व्स. So what will be the final amount of export profit reserve, guys, that you will add in the balance sheet?
50,000.
Correct. So that will be 50,000. Any doubts? Okay. So next हो गया 50,000. After Tanu Kumari, do I have Tanu Singh?
Yes, ma'am.
Tanu, what will I add in the reserves after this?
Ma'am, investment allowance reserve.
Amount बोलो.
10,000.
Right, correct. Fine. Next will be, let's say, do I have Vishal? Vishal is not there. Dipansh? Dipansh is also not there.
Ma'am, surplus
Yeah.
account.
Yeah, surplus amount. Can you tell me, Dipansh? How much money, how much amount shall I add in surplus?
Ma'am, 75,000.
Very good. 75,000, that's correct. Okay, then comes Swapnil. Swapnil, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
So do you think there is any other amount that we are going to add to the reserve and surplus?
Yes, ma'am. 50,000 of amalgam.
50,000 of amalgamation, वो कौन सा है भाई? बैलेंस शीट देख के बोल रहे हो, बुक से लगता है. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है स्वप्निल, you're wrong. Monica, what else is left? और क्या ऐड करना है? Okay, so now the question is open to everyone. What else is left in reserve and surplus that we need to add? Can anybody tell me?
कैपिटल रिजर्व.
Capital reserve.
वेरी गुड. कैपिटल रिजर्व जो बैलेंस शीट के लिए जर्नल एंट्री करी ही इस पर्पस से थी हमने, बाय द वे. नहीं तो आपकी बैलेंस शीट कभी मैच नहीं करती. आप सीधा एसेट्स उठा के वहां डाल देते, लाइबिलिटी उठा के वहां डाल देते. आपने बैलेंसिंग फिगर निकालनी थी सेकेंड एंट्री में. सेकेंड एंट्री द वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट एंट्रीज. फर्स्ट एंट्री इंपॉर्टेंट है क्योंकि बिजनेस परचेज कंसिडरेशन उससे निकलेगा. सेकेंड एंट्री इंपॉर्टेंट है क्योंकि उससे बैलेंसिंग फिगर निकलेगा. So capital reserve of 38,000 will be added. Now I give you 2 minutes to total up and tell me what is the total of reserve and surplus that will go in the balance sheet. Okay, I'm waiting. Tell me the total amount of reserve and surplus that should go in the balance sheet.
Ma'am,
Yes, Divya.
can you please repeat why did we add 50,000 for export profit reserve and investment allowance reserve?
Why did we add?
Matlab, why the amount of 50,000?
According to you, what should be the amount? You tell me that first.
Ma'am, 30?
Okay, wait, Divya. Divya, 30 is the purchasing company which already has 30,000. Don't you remember while passing our journal entries, we passed an entry amalgamation adjustment account to export profit reserve to investment allowance reserve. Did we pass that entry?
Yes, ma'am.
That means that amount is credited.
Yes, ma'am.
That means we will add it.
Yes, ma'am.
So is it clear?
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Right.
Thanks, ma'am.
Fine. Yes, guys. What is
Ma'am.
the total of reserve and surplus?
Ma'am, 223,000.
Correct, Tanu. Thank you so much. So now you will put that amount from the notes to account to the balance sheet in the reserves and surplus. Okay. So now I have the subtotal, that is my shareholders fund. What is the total of shareholders fund, guys? Total of share capital and reserve and surplus, please tell me.
1257,000.
नहीं 1257 तो शेयर कैपिटल है. मैंने शेयर होल्डर्स फंड बोला है. शेयर होल्डर्स फंड क्या होता है? शेयर कैपिटल
14,80,000.
14,80,000. Correct. Everyone is getting it? Raise your hands, those of you who are getting the same amount for shareholders fund. 14,80,000. Right. Fine. Okay. Let's go ahead now. So guys, this is just a punishment that I'm not doing it right now in front of you because I did not really find you interested. So please make sure you are interested. Then only I can, share my screen. कोई point नहीं है मैं question करती जाऊँ और आप कुछ भी ना करो. ठीक है? So it's going to be a two-way street. All right. Let's go to the next part. So we are done with this. Now we are going to add up the long-term borrowings, right? So let's see how much is the long-term borrowings. Yes, can anybody tell me in the long-term borrowings, how much am I going to add here? Yes, anyone? What will be the total amount of long-term borrowings? I want to know. Anyone? Long-term borrowings के अंदर 14% debentures आ रहा है. कितना होगा? Total बताओ.
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
85,000?
85,000.
Yes, correct.
85,000.
85,000 that will directly go into the balance sheet under the name non-current liabilities. Okay, so non-current liabilities के अंदर debentures में चला गया आपका 85,000. Then I have the current liabilities. How much is the current liabilities? Total of current liabilities I want to know.
85,000.
Again, so I'm going to take it from the notes to account to the balance sheet, that is current liabilities, again 85,000. Okay, before we move to the asset side, please tell me the total of the liability side. What is the total of the liability side?
16 lakh 50.
Yes, 16,50,000 everyone should have. Is everyone getting 16,50,000? Please raise your hand if you're getting 16,50,000.
Ma'am, you are not audible.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. Beginning with Tanu Singh. In the assets, guys, the first thing is that is your non-current asset. You have the property, plant and equipment. So let's see within property, plant and equipment tangible, what are the things we have? In the balance sheet, we have land and building. What amount of land and building, Tanu Singh, will go in the balance sheet?
4 lakh 5.
4,05,000. Now, please remember, I don't know, I hope you have done the new format of the balance sheet, but there's one thing that I would like to talk about is like here, if I see here. So now that you're adding the balance sheet here, there is something known as within the balance sheet that is tangible. And in this tangible, you're going to create in the notes to account all the things you're going to add up. For example, she said land and building is 4,05,000. Then after land and building, what is it? There is plant and machinery. What's the total of plant and machinery? Anybody?
4 lakh
4 lakh
95.
95,000.
5,000. Yeah. Second is, I think, third is, I think, furniture. Yes. Total of furniture. Anybody?
94,500.
94,500.
So this is under the, sorry, this is under the property, plant and equipment tangible. I am going to add this up and I'm going to take this to the balance sheet. So tell me what is the total, guys. This should be a total that is 9,94,500. So within non-current assets, within property, plant and equipment, under tangible, this is what amount will go to the balance sheet. ये ऐसे इसका bifurcation of notes to account में दिखाओगे और इसका ये जो total amount है 9,94,500 ये आपका balance sheet में जाएगा. Is it clear? Any question? Okay. Now after this, let's see what do we have. We have non-current investment. So how much non-current investment am I going to add up, guys? Tell me the total of non-current investment.
2,20,000.
So 2,20,000 I'm going to take to the balance sheet, right? Then I think I have the, yes, okay, this is a tricky one. What do you think will come next? Anyone?
Ma'am, amalgamation adjustment.
Yeah, just wait. So you're not going to write exactly amalgamation adjustment. You're going to write in the notes to account other current assets. Under the heading of other current assets, you have amalgamation adjustment account. And then you will take it to the balance sheet by the name other current assets. Is this clear?
Ma'am.
Sorry, other non-current assets. Yeah. Yeah, Anirudh, you were saying something?
मैम हम ऐसा भी कर सकते हैं कि जहाँ पे हमने रिजर्व सरप्लस नोट टू अकाउंट में शो किया है वहां पर हम इन्वेस्ट ये जो एक्सपोर्ट प्रॉफिट रिजर्व वगैरह जो हमने 2 साल के लिए अलग से क्रिएट किए हैं उसमें से हम अमाउंट माइनस कर दें.
नहीं वो नहीं कर सकते. मैं बताती हूँ, सुनो. ये तो वो तो फिर तो तुम सब कुछ ही कर दो. इन द सेंस द पॉइंट इज हमें बैलेंस शीट में ये दिखाना है क्लियरली. जब आपको याद होगा जब हमने जर्नल एंट्री की बात की थी हमने क्या बोला था? हमने कहा था कोई चीज लायबिलिटी है, कोई चीज डेबिट हो रही है तो क्रेडिट भी होगी. क्रेडिट हमें पता है, एक्सपोर्ट रिजर्व हमें दिखाना है. अनिरुद्ध अगर तुम दिखाओगे ही नहीं उसको बैलेंस शीट में, उसने क्वेश्चन में क्लियरली बोला है कि एक्सपोर्ट रिजर्व और इन्वेस्टमेंट रिजर्व आपको मेंटेन करना है अगले 2 साल तक. जब आप बैलेंस शीट में उसको लिखोगे और उसमें से माइनस कर दोगे अमेलगमेशन एडजस्टमेंट तो वो बैलेंस शीट में दिखेगा?
नो मैम.
अकॉर्डिंग टू लॉ यू हैव टू शो इट एंड बिकॉज यू हैव टू शो इट इसीलिए आपको उसका रिस्पेक्टिव डेबिट करना पड़ रहा है और वो डेबिट आपको अदर नॉन करंट एसेट में दिखाना है. क्लियर?
ओके.
So you cannot do that. ठीक है? You should never do that. Then we come to the last thing, that is the current assets. Within current assets, we have a few things we can see. We have inventories, we have trade receivable, we have cash and cash equivalent. Okay, I'm not doing anything. I'm now giving you 5 minutes to give me the final total and tell me, is your balance sheet matching? Yes or no? I'm waiting. 5 minutes for you. Is your balance sheet matching? How many of you have the books now? किसी ने भी नहीं खरीदी अभी तक? चलो भाई शुक्र है दिव्या तनु एंड लिप्सा हैव इट गुड बिकॉज मैं नेक्स्ट टाइम से कोई शेयर नहीं करने वाली अभी एक होमवर्क शेयर कर रही हूँ बस दैट्स इट दैट्स द लास्ट टाइम आई एम गोइंग टू शेयर इट yes is your answer matching everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubts that anybody has? Please tell me. And just to see your seriousness, I have sent you another question. By next Saturday, you guys make sure you finish it and come to the class. Although the second part of the question mentions two things, जिसमें से हमने एक चीज कर ली है, एक नहीं की है. Two parts हैं question में. Have you received it?
Yes, ma'am.
कौन सा part करोगे? First part या second part? Can anybody tell me? हमने क्या कर लिया है? Second part. लेजर्स अभी हमने किए नहीं है ठीक है तो खाली सेकंड पार्ट करना है आपका दैट्स द होमवर्क बट आई एम नॉट फिनिशिंग ऑफ माय क्लास हियर व्हाई बिकॉज टुडे व्हाट वी जस्ट डिड इज यू वुड हैव अंडरस्टूड दैट बेसिकली फ्रॉम the point of view of whatever theory we have already done we already know that the difference between merger method and purchase method is that all the assets liability and reserves are taken over. Now when I'm saying this guys what is the difference in the journal entry can anybody tell me? It means that जब मैं एंट्री कर रही थी प्लांट एंड बिल्डिंग टू डिबेंचर्स तो वहां पे मैंने टू रिजर्व्स नहीं किए ना मैंने वहां पे नहीं किया टू जनरल रिजर्व टू सरप्लस राइट लेकिन अगर आपका क्वेश्चन मर्जर होता तो आप रिजर्व्स को भी क्रेडिट करते इज दैट क्लियर excuse me is that clear yes or no
Yes, ma'am.
So that's one. Secondly, we already know that आपको याद होगा जब हमने 5 points किए थे, it was that all accounts are taken over at book value. Now here purchase method में ऐसा भी हो सकता है अभी ऐसा क्वेश्चन आया नहीं कि भाई हमें अकाउंट्स जो है टेक ओवर करने हो अग्रीड वैल्यू या फेयर वैल्यू पे बट मर्जर में नहीं मर्जर में हमेशा ही आपको एज इट इज बुक वैल्यू पे पिक करना है क्लियर then the shareholders become the shareholders of the purchasing company. Now here shareholders might not become the shareholders of purchasing company. Equity shareholders will be discharged in equity shares only except in few exceptions. Equity shareholders might be paid in preference share, cash, debentures, etc. And finally, liquidation expense is debited to the general reserve in merger. While if you remember, liquidation expense is debited to the goodwill account. I'll tell you that today. In the next 15 minutes, we'll finish the entries for merger also and then we'll wind up the class. Now, let's understand this 6 point जो ऐसे समझ नहीं आएगा मैं अभी entry के through समझाऊंगी but let me read it for you. Difference between the share capital of the vendor and the purchasing company is adjusted in CR or revenue reserve. And difference between the net asset and PC is transferred in the goodwill or capital reserve. ये तो आपको पता है ठीक है Now see guys, if you know the entries of purchasing company by purchase method it is very simple सिर्फ एक दो जगह changes है merger में वो हम अभी quickly कर लेंगे कैसे so if you remember ये हमने किया था purchasing company in case of purchase method अब हम कर रहे हैं in case of merger method now please note यहाँ पे क्या होता है पहले हम क्या करते थे business purchase to liquidator of vendor company But now since it is a merger, कई books में उन्होंने ऐसे ही लिखा है business purchase to liquidator of vendor company. But technically, because it's a merger method, we should ideally do the entry business merger to liquidator of vendor company. Is this clear? The first entry same ही है, सिर्फ नाम change हुआ है. कोई doubt है? Any doubt? Any doubt? Yes or no? So now we come to second. If you remember, we used to do what we used to do was assets to liabilities, or I can also write individual assets, and I can write individual liabilities, right? To merger. Now there is an addition here. What is the addition? The addition here is जब आप ये एंट्री पास करोगे, आप सारे एसेट्स को डेबिट कर दोगे, सारे लायबिलिटीज को क्रेडिट कर दोगे, टू बिजनेस मर्जर लिखोगे, ठीक है? अब यहाँ पे कुछ होगा, क्या होगा? I'll just tell you in the next few minutes. Just give me 2 minutes to, tell you the basic differences, and I'll talk about it. And here also, तब वहां क्या करते थे हम? गुडविल टू लिक्विडेशन एक्सपेंस करते थे. यहाँ हम करेंगे जनरल रिजर्व टू लिक्विडेशन एक्सपेंस. ऐसा क्यों? Now see here. There is a point that I would like to make. देखो, जब आप मर्जर करते हो तो आप कुछ शेयर कैपिटल इशू करते हो वेंडर कंपनी को, ठीक है? There is a point that is to be taken here, that you will be issuing certain share capital to the vendor company. Now if you see, I'll try to make you understand that with the help of a question. Let me just share it with you so that you understand that. Just give me a second. Right, I'm sending it in the chat box. Right, I'm sending it. Just give me a second. First part is sent. You can read that. Till then, I'm sending the second part also. Right, the second part is also sent. Now you see, it says that if we look at this question and try to understand from the purchase consideration point of view and all that, okay, just give me a second. This is illustration 8. Now guys, tell me, in this illustration that I have just sent you, who is the vendor? Who is the vendor in illustration 8?
Ma'am, S Limited.
Fine. And who is the purchasing company? Obviously W. So it's written here S Limited and W Limited. Okay. Now let's calculate, try to calculate the purchase consideration. It says that W agreed to absorb the business of S Limited on the following terms. W would acquire all the assets and liabilities of S Limited at book value. W agreed to issue 6 shares of 10 each for every 5 shares of S Limited. The expenses of absorption amounting to 30,000 were paid by W Limited. The journal entries you have to pass according to pooling of interest and bracket में लिखा है merger method. तो सबसे पहले clear हो गया मुझे इस question से कि मुझे purchase method use नहीं करना. Which method I have to use? Which method I have to use? Merger method, right? Right. So can you tell me, how are you going to calculate the purchase consideration? Tell me, how are you going to calculate the purchase consideration? Anyone? It's going to be the net payment method, yes or no? Is it going to be the net payment method, yes or no? बोलो हाँ या नहीं? What is the format? I'll just show you. So if you see, he says agrees to issue 6 shares of 10 each for every 5 shares of S Limited. Simple. S Limited के shares कितने हैं पहले देखते हैं. इक्विटी शेयर मेरे पास है 15 लाख divided by 10, which means 1,50,000. So I have 1,50,000 shares of S Limited, and he's saying you are issuing 6 shares. So 1,50,000 into 6 for every 5 shares, that is divided by 5. So your purchase consideration is going to be calculated like this: 1,50,000. Obviously इसमें आपको पूरा format follow करना है, which you will do payment to, payment in, and calculation. This is how you're going to do. This is going to be your answer. Okay. 1,50,000 shares you have. Let me check. Yeah, into 10. This is going to be your answer. How much is your purchase consideration, everyone?
Ma'am, 18 lakhs.
18 lakh. Is it clear? Any doubt? This is something we have already done. इसमें मैंने कुछ नया नहीं बताया अभी तक आपको. अब देखते हैं मर्जर में डिफरेंस क्या है. अगर आप एस लिमिटेड की शेयर कैपिटल देखते हो एवरीवन, हाउ मच इज द शेयर कैपिटल ऑफ एस लिमिटेड इन द बैलेंस शीट? प्लीज टेल मी. हाउ मच इज इट?
15 lakh.
15 लाख है.
15 lakh.
लेकिन है तो 15 लाख, लेकिन आपने कितनी इशू कर दी? हाउ मच हैव यू इशूड? 18 लाख की ना? You have issued 18 lakh, right? Yes or no? So there is a difference.
Yes, ma'am.
मतलब कि actually तो 15 लाख थी, लेकिन मैंने इशू करी 15 लाख, sorry 18 लाख. This means there is a difference, right? Now what is this difference? Let's see. Obviously there is going to be a difference of how much? Anyone? 3 lakh? Yes or no? Yes or no? And now tell me,
Yes,
ये
ma'am.
जो
Yes, yes.
ये जो 3 लाख है, ये क्या है? प्रॉफिट है या लॉस है? Is it profit or loss? This 3 lakh. Anyone?
Ma'am, profit.
प्रॉफिट है. 15 लाख का शेयर कैपिटल थी, मैंने बदले में उसे 18 लाख दिया, तो ये प्रॉफिट है? बोलो एवरीवन. खुशी? लॉस. तो मतलब क्या करेंगे हम मर्जर में? क्या करते हैं? हमने डिफरेंस देखा कितना है जी? 3 लाख का डिफरेंस है. अब मैं इसको कहाँ एडजस्ट करूं? पहली बात, सबसे पहली एंट्री क्या होती है? बिजनेस मर्जर्स टू लिक्विडेटर ऑफ एस 18 लाख. इसमें तो कोई डाउट नहीं आपको, ठीक है. सेकेंड एंट्री क्या होती है? मैं एसेट डेबिट करती हूँ. लेट मी गो फ्रॉम द एसेट साइड. सो आई हैव लैंड एंड बिल्डिंग ऑफ 9 लाख, प्लांट एंड मशीनरी ऑफ 6 लाख. Then I have inventory of 1,95,000. I have debtors of 1,50,000 and cash and cash equivalent of 1,05,000. टू क्या है मेरे पास? टू बिजनेस मर्जर है मेरे पास 18 लाख का, ठीक है. अलावा क्या है? लेट्स सी. या टू क्रेडिटर्स है मेरे पास, लाइबिलिटी से देखे मैंने 90,000 के. नाउ इफ यू रिमेंबर गाइस, आई ऑल्सो टोल्ड यू दैट कि भाई ये तो मर्जर है, तो मुझे रिजर्व्स भी सारे के सारे क्रेडिट करने हैं, ठीक है. अब गाइस, डू यू रिमेंबर, अगर इस क्वेश्चन को मैं देखूं, इसमें तो ये मुझे दे रहा है जनरल रिजर्व 3,60,000 का. कितने का दे रहा है? 3,60,000 का. अब आप ये बताओ मुझे, आप में से किसी ने नहीं पूछा कि मैम आपने जनरल रिजर्व सिर्फ 60,000 का क्रेडिट क्यों किया? डज एनीबडी हैव एन आंसर? लेट मी शो यू. For this entry, can you explain why I have credited only the general reserve of 60,000 and not 3,60,000? Anyone? Think. Fine. Now let me explain. This is what merger means. So merger means, since I just discussed with you, 3 लाख का मुझे लॉस हो गया. ये 3 लाख का लॉस कहां से निकालूंगी? जनरल रिजर्व्स. Had I had a capital reserve, मैं वहां से निकालती. कैपिटल रिजर्व मेरे पास है नहीं, मेरे पास बचा क्या बैलेंस शीट में? जनरल रिजर्व. जनरल रिजर्व मुझे 3,60,000 की दी है, उसमें से 3 लाख का जो लॉस था मैंने 3,60,000 में से माइनस कर दिया, बचा क्या? 60,000. Is this clear? Is this clear or not? Please tell me. Any question?
Yes, ma'am.
So basically point क्या है? Point ये है कि जब आप मर्जर करते हो तो आप क्रेडिट करते हो सारी जो भी एडजस्टमेंट करते हो प्रॉफिट की या लॉस की, पर आपको पता कैसे चलेगा आपको प्रॉफिट हुआ है या लॉस हुआ है? यू हैव टू सी द डिफरेंस बिटवीन द शेयर कैपिटल ऑफ द वेंडर कंपनी एंड द शेयर कैपिटल इशूड टू द वेंडर कंपनी. मतलब बैलेंस शीट में जो शेयर कैपिटल थी, लिसन टू दिस टर्म वेरी केयरफुली. हाउ विल यू नो वेदर यू हैव अ प्रॉफिट और लॉस? How will you know you have to adjust what you have to adjust in the general reserve or capital reserve? You will find out the difference between, you can please write it down, the difference between the share capital of the vendor company, that is the balance sheet major vendor company की share capital दी है, and the share capital issued to the vendor company by the purchasing company. Is that clear? That's the most important point in merger. Clear, guys? Okay. So I've given you only one question, right? Next time we meet, we will be, what we will be doing is, in fact, I'll like to add up. एक क्वेश्चन मैंने 10th क्वेश्चन दिया है और ये 8th भी मैंने दे ही दिया है, तो आप 8th को भी ट्राई कर सकते हो, ठीक है? Clear? Fine. So next time we meet, I'll quickly, within the initial 15 minutes, I'll quickly ask you to tell me how, you know, illustration 10 में मैं पूछूंगी आपसे क्या क्या किया आपने, 8 में क्या क्या किया, and then we will move towards the entries in the vendor company. ठीक है? अभी तक तो हम purchasing company कर रहे हैं, purchase method and merger method. We will do in the vendor company next time. Is it clear, guys? Can I end the class here? Fine then.